You'll be surprised to know that the Porsche 911 997.2 GTS that was produced in 2011 and 2012 is a lot rarer than the Porsche 911 991.1 GT3 RS. I mean, there were circa 4,500 of these made and roughly 850 of these in 2011 and about 435 of them in 2012. So they were supplied in a very, very limited number. And one of the reasons that the Porsche 911 997.2 Carrera 4 GTS Coupe are limited in numbers were because they were built in and around the time of the recession, or people were still suffering from the effect of the recession. Therefore, not many people had disposable income or money lying around that they can spend on, a circa 80, 90 grand Porsche 911. But we've got this 911 here now in 2023, and I'd like to be doing a bit of a review on what it's like to drive, how rare is this car, what it's like to hold value, and overall, should you consider buying one of these. What's different on the 911 997.2 GTS? Firstly, you get a much more prominent front splitter. You've got the 19-inch RS Spider central lock alloys, of course, with the red calipers. They go extremely well with a basil black exterior color, the gloss black alloys with the red calipers. This is the side sills that you will also find on the Porsche 911 GT2, a very rare car as well. And on the back of it, of course, you've got the wider track body and the bigger, fatter, meatier tires to give you that extra grip that you would want on the Porsche 911 997.2 GTS. This being the Carrera 4, or you could say 4S, but because it's a GTS, you just say Carrera 4 GTS. Quite a nice thing that you get this beautiful reflector at the back. It's really wider rear end, which looks absolutely mean and stunning and very classic at the same time. And these already are modern classic cars. The 997s can be registered as a classic with Porsche. I'm not sure if it applies to the 997 generation 2, but definitely the 997 generation 1. But it's the generation 2 which are also desirable because of the direct fuel injection engines. The 3.8 litre engines are no longer in direct fuel injection, so you no longer have to worry about the issues of bore scoring, IMS, and all the other theories out there with supposed issues. You get a very refined bulletproof engine, which if it wasn't a GTS would produce 385 brake horsepower. But the fact that this is a GTS, you've got a power kit that gives you an additional boost to the direct fuel injection 3.8 litre naturally aspirated engine, which boosts up the bhp to 402 brake horsepower and the torque to a really good 420 Newton meters of torque. And that helps to get the 0 to 62 miles per hour times down to 4.5 seconds. And the top speed is 188 miles per hour. And on the 911 991.1 GT3 RS, for which I've just done a review, the top speed on that is 193 miles an hour. We need to just get into that driver's seat, drive this, just to illustrate what it sounds like, what it drives like, and overall, why this is probably, I think, the rarest car, definitely in numbers, that I've ever had in stock. So let's drive it and tell you a little bit more about it. Sound, look, feel, what it's like to sit on the inside, the whole lot. Immediately, right from the get-go, sitting behind the steering wheel in this Porsche 911 997.2 GTS, you're welcomed by this very premium look and feel of the interior of this 911, and it just looks and feels absolutely stunning. The 997.2 overall, I just think, takes the interior of the 911 to just another level. I know some of the things might feel or seem similar, but just starting from all the buttons, the fact it's got the PDK Doppelkupplungsgetriebe, the dual clutch transmission. This is what basically was the future for Porsche. This was the only gearbox you could have in the 991. Its newer 911 after the 997.2, the 991s, GT3 and GT3 RSs only came in sort of PDK automatic transmission. Just the seats as well, they're completely different. The sports exhaust system, the whole chassis of it is set up completely differently to the 997.1. And of course, you didn't get the GTS in the Porsche 911, the 997.1 that were produced between 2004 up until, I believe, to 2009. Now, what else that is very special about this is what I, of course, compare GTS to is, has it got the GTS spec, the Alcantara, the sports steering wheel, the sports exhaust system, the sports chrono plus package, all the relevant spec items, has it got all of that? And yes, this one does. It's all here, it's all intact. And I will be pressing that sports exhaust. The sports chassis is switched on now and sports exhaust turned on. The 997.2 is such a refined car, but the GTS just takes it to a whole new level. And just dropped it to first gear, 4,000 RPM. The speed at which you're able to change gears is just, beyond belief. And that's credit to, of course, the PDK transmission. Just being in the automatic mode, if you're just kind of poodling along in the automatic mode, just driving, and for example, you're in the fifth gear, if you just put your foot down like this, if you're in fifth or sixth gear, the car will automatically drop 2 or 3 gears, either to the second or the third gear from sixth, just to give you that sports car feel to it. The PDK critically thinks and it basically adapts much better than how fast a human being could potentially go up or go down a gear. And I couldn't praise the PDK as a transmission. I couldn't praise that highly enough. Of course, the GTS, just from the little walk around that I did initially, they're very low in numbers. The wider body styling of it, of course, the bigger, meatier tires at the back, they're wider, gives you a lot more grip. The GT2 side stills, the prominent front splitter, and of course mechanically the GTS is a much more superior, and a 911 that isn't a 997.2 Carrera S or a 997 Carrera 4S, because the GTS from a chassis point of view is set up very different to the Carrera S's or to the Carrera 4S's, because these are no longer just 10mm lowered with PASM. As a matter of fact, with PASM they're 20mm lowered, and of course it's got a power kit. This has got the 4-wheel drive setup. It's got the body of the wider 911 turbos, and if it was a Carrera S that was spec'd up rather well, that would have the wider body of the that wouldn't have the wider body. That have the Carrera S has the narrow body. It's got the narrow bodied 911, and of course this being a car that is spec'd so well, makes it not just a GTS that is a model that is superior than a Carrera S or a Carrera 4S, but above that, it's just spec to a level that you wouldn't normally find this kind of specification in a Carrera S or a Carrera 4S. I mean, I'm referring to the sports steering wheel finished in Alcantara, the Alcantara and the extended leather that you find in something like this, the combination of Alcantara and leather interior. All of these are optional items over what you would find in a standard 911 997.2 GTS. Things like Bose. Porsche are known to be the king of optionals, and somebody that bought this brand new right at the beginning has gone over and above speccing this. Now let me just go through the kind of performance figures of this one more time, just to kind of explain to you what kind of performance figures you would be looking at. You'll be looking at on the 3.8 litre. On the 3.8 litre naturally aspirated flat 6 boxer engine. This well produces 402 brake horsepower rather than 385 if it wasn't a GTS because of the power kit. 420 Newton meters of torque. The 0 to 62 miles per hour is possible in 4.5 seconds. The top speed is 188 miles per hour. In terms of the total curb weight, that is 1,555 kilograms. And these were only produced in 2011 and 2012. The 997.2 Carrera 4 GTS, only circa 840 of them were built in the year 2011, and only half of that number, about 435 of them, were built in 2012. So very rare, very few in numbers ever built. And overall, I must say, if you want a 911 that you could put 40,000 miles on it and practically not lose much value, if you put that same kind of mileage on a Carrera S or on a Carrera 4S, the 997 GTS is definitely the car to buy. Now, what do you find on the interior in terms of spec items? As soon as you sort of cross the boundary to go into the inside, you've got the tread plates that says Carrera 4 GTS. They are, as a matter of fact, finished in stainless steel, or like a brushed stainless steel look to it. Absolutely beautiful. This has got the ultimate GTS spec. All the GTS relevant items. Porsche Sport Design steering wheel is finished in Alcantara. The seats are a combination of Alcantara and leather. They're also heated. You've got the extended leather on the dash, and you've got Alcantara there on the bottom of the dash, as well as the back of the vehicle having both a combination of leather and Alcantara, and the headlining is also all in Alcantara. So you've got all the juicy, beautiful bits of what you would expect from the GTS, which is loads of Alcantara. It's a very premium material. That's also, this handrest is also finished in Alcantara. The handbrake is finished in Alcantara, and the gear selector is finished in leather. Now, spec-wise, this has got the Sports Chrono Plus package. You've got the sports exhaust, the PASM, and you've also got, as I've already mentioned, the Sport Design steering wheel with paddle shifts finished in Alcantara. You've got the Bose sound system, and quite a bit of other additional spec items also on the outside, such as the 19-inch central lock alloys is finished in basalt black, which is, I guess, a great color. Combines really well with the alloys, and the seat belts, not to forget, complements the inside extremely well because these are in Guards Red. And that's just from a spec point of view.